Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are reviewing a movie that came out just last year called...
Well, actually, it was released last year at a film festival, but I think it's actually released in this year, March and April this year. So it's a real new one.
Yes, so it's called Late Night with the Devil. So it's Australian-based movie. It came out in Melbourne, I think, or filmed in Melbourne. Wouldn't you say?
I think it was done in Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah.
It went through to 2023. It actually had its world premiere at the South by Southwest Film Festival in March last year. It received really good reviews. Yada yada yada. But it actually was theatrical released in America, 22nd of March of this year, and in Australia on the 11th of April this year. So it's really, really new, and I'll talk about it later, but eBay has some for sale already, but Amazon hasn't got listings yet.
Nope.
Okay, so I'll mention that again later.
Yes.
But how new can you get it?
Good question, then. Where?
What?
So... Anyway.
What? Okay, I'll say I do my usual rubbish. I mean my good bits. Produced by Matt Gavoni, Adam White, John Malloy, Roy Lee, Stephen Schneider, and Derek Dalchi. I think that's the right pronunciation. Now this little piece, very friendly little piece, was written and directed by Colin and Cameron Cames. I think it's right in that pronunciation. Caimes.
Yeah, so they might be either they were related, obviously.
Well, they could be brothers or father
cousins.
and son, or I've got no idea.
It doesn't matter at this point.
No, it doesn't say in the notes here. So, but
I remember we did do another production that was in Australia that was done by two brothers. The Talk to Me one, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
That we actually met and got to meet a special.
I can't remember the last time now.
Yeah. Anyway, we met them and it was at a special event at Home of the Arts, and it was pretty great.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, blah 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 blah. I did that bit. Now, there was apart from the lead actor who was American, the rest of them Australian people. So some of you guys over in America probably won't know these people. However, I'll go through them anyway. Right, David. Dastmalchian, I think. Dastmalchian. He plays Jack Delroy. He's the host of a TV show like Johnny Carson, one of those sort of one of those shows. Now, it was written by Australians based on a concept that we had, different shows we had back here in Australia back in the 70s and 80s. And there's a guy, Don Lane, who was actually an American guy who came out to Australia to run one of these shows, a bit like a Johnny Carson show. And it's based loosely on Don Lane in Australia, his show, loosely. That's where they got the idea from. Interesting, hey? Anyway, Laura Gordon plays June Ross Mitchell, a parapsychologist and author. Ian Bliss as Carmichael Haig, a former magician turned skeptic. Faisal Bazi plays Christou, a psychic. Ingrid Torelli as Lily Darbo. Now, she's a survivor of a mass suicide in a Satanist group. This girl, I think she's about 18 years old, and she's a very good little actress. I think she's going to go a long way.
Me too.
Yeah. Reese O'Terry plays Gus McConnell, Jack's sidekick. A guy running around doing things on the show. Yeah, well, I think so. Georgina Haig as Madeline Piper, Jack's deceased wife. Actually, believe it or not, she has a deceased wife that actually shows up in this occasionally.
Yeah. So aside from the guy who's playing Jack, the rest of these other actors are all Australian-based actors.
I just said that.
I know. I'm just saying.
I just said, apart from the main guy, David, whatever his name is, the rest of them are Australian people. I won't mention the other people there. Yeah, but there's some really nice people got together and made a really interesting movie. Can't think of it. I don't know too much about the costings and everything.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Box office 11 million.
And we don't know what the budget money is.
Yeah, don't know the budget. What I would say at a rough guess, not being silly and weird, most of this was filmed in a studio, like a TV studio type setting. So it's technically, to a certain degree, a one-room job. So when he's not moving people around all over the place, it actually can obviously do things a bit cheaper. There's enough special effects to keep it interesting without going over the top. I think they would have had a reasonably conservative budget on this one. So they probably made a profit on it, I'd say. But it's too early to tell at the moment, but it's still out there.
Yeah, it's still floating in the...
They're still going through the cinemas. So I don't know the figures yet. So I really think they won't lose on this one.
Yes.
Yep. I can't think of anything else. Do you want to get into it?
I'll get into it. So Jack, who's the host, has a TV show, and we start off like a documentary style, or mockumentary thing, as this does come off as a found footage style type about it.
Yeah, it sounds like a documentary and a found footage thrown together.
Yes. And anyway, this guy narrates how this guy he started a show, and it was like the show that you referred to.
Oh, Johnny Carson.
But it's not there. It's not up there with...
No, he's running a close second all the time. He wants to be on top. He wants to be Johnny Carson.
But he doesn't seem to be getting there anytime soon. And there were moments he was going to get his show was going to get the boot, obviously.
Well, yeah, it was getting a bit stale because he couldn't compete with Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson was getting better interviews and guests and different things, and he was slightly going backwards.
Yeah. Bigger names, bigger people coming to visit.
That sort of stuff.
Obviously, you get the meaning. Anyway, so he's married. He was married to an actress, a beautiful lady, and she slowly kind of developed cancer and died. And he grew a little depressed, and he also took comfort into a cult thingy-wing. There isn't much to tell you guys about that, but I know that deep down he was trying to look for a way to get successful really fast, even that if it meant changing and going to the dark side.
Well, sort of like that. I'll reinterpret that for you.
Okay.
He's not in a cult.
Well,
there's a group of guys, businessmen type guy, who meet in the forest, doing secret little thingies or whatever, and no one knows what they do. They might drink, have a good time, bit of debauchery, whatever, but there's a supernatural theme going through there, but we don't really know too much about it until later on, that possibly our lead man in this production made a pact with the devil or whatever, a demon, to become successful. And that's leading up to what's happening now.
Yeah. Anyway, his show is like 1 minute either cancelled, the next minute comes back, and
Well, it wasn't cancelled. It was going to be cancelled. The looking being cancelled. Weren't going to renew it. Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Usually that sort of happens in some cases. You get that. Anyway, so he then decides to do a special Halloween special with special guests like the psychics and a conjuring magician guy.
Well, the conjuring magician used to be a magician. Now he's a guy who goes out there tries to debunk the fakes. Yeah.
Like a bit like Harry Houdini. He tried to debunk the fake ghost people, whatever. Anyway, and of course, so he arranges it, and of course, as he's the show comes off as very cheesy, of course, but then again, that was the this is 1977, so it comes off cheesy. So, anyway, so this...
Well, it's supposed to be October 77,
It starts off as very cheesy, obviously, and then they start introducing their guests. The first one is the guy who's the psychic, who... He tries to do his job, but somehow one of them didn't work out, but he actually worked it out. A lady and her daughter's son were dead, obviously, and it sounded very convincing. Then, when they were getting close to a commercial break, he starts calling out for a woman named Minnie.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
well,
And, of course, he also spews out black... Well, I
Black
don't know what
gooey
it is.
stuff.
Black gooey stuff.
yeah.
I don't know what it
projectile
is.
vomiting style stuff, really bad. Across the room.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Of course, they then go to commercial break, and this is where we get the behind-the-scene video footage used in black and white, obviously. And this is where it becomes a little bit more, you get to see a little bit of inside look into their lives.
Interesting that everything was done on camera, like what you'd see on the TV part. That they're actually filming was all done in colour, and all the behind-the-scenes stuff was done in black and white to emulate. We're using just black and white cameras to do the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Anyway, then we meet the conjuring skeptic magician.
Yeah, he tries to debunk
Everyone and everything.
everybody, no matter what it is, they're lying and cheating.
Yeah, he says this about the spiritualist. That's the word, spiritualist.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole black stuff comes out of his mouth, and he gets taken away in an ambulance off screen.
But the psychic guy dies in the ambulance from his whole body is rupturing inside and bleeding and stuff.
Yes.
Something ain't quite right here.
Yes.
He dies in the ambulance anyway.
The next guest is a lady named June, and her little miracle, her patient, Lily, who was a victim of being a part of a group,
a satanic cult, and she's been in June's care for a while, trying to undo the damage.
Yeah, and here we find out about a book about the spirit of the devil, speaking to the devil sort of stuff, and she's sort of promoting it, I guess. Anyway, so we soon interviewed them, and of course Lily comes off as super creepy and nice, or a little bit more creepy than nice when you think about it. She is
Weird.
Very weird. Of course, Jack wants to prove that Carmichael is wrong about this, and he wants to show it live on TV.
They're going to try get the demon who supposedly possesses this girl.
Yeah, she calls it Mr. Wiggles.
Mr. Wiggles, what a lovely name. But they want him to sort of come and to show himself and talk to the television audience and those viewers at home.
Yes. Of course, June objects to this because she thinks it's dangerous to poke the bear or the demon. It might provoke it, and then who knows what would happen. So during commercial break, they kind of argue, but he tells them, "We'll just do this once, and if it doesn't go well, we'll then stop." Okay. So they then strap Lily into a chair. They used some really binding
just in
stuff.
case he gets out of control.
Yeah. Of course, she goes into a trance-like state. And this is where the demon starts coming out,
And
sort of
talking
Linda
dual
Blair,
voices.
if you
that
will,
sort of stuff.
almost.
The dual voice, a male and female voice coming out at the same time. And then towards the end of the visitation, the girl's chair levitates a couple of feet off the ground. And this guy, the skeptic, saying, "Oh, it's all crap."
Anyway, eventually she does come out of it, but I still think Mr. Wiggles is still around. No doubt. Anyway, so they take another break, and of course Carmichael thinks that this is again fake. He thinks that they're just being hypnotized, manipulated, blah blah blah. Coming from a skeptic who doesn't believe in supernatural stuff, he believes in hypnosis. Isn't that a bit weird?
Well, he was a professional conjurer, a magician. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
So.
did sleight of hand, hypnotism, whatever.
Anyway, he plans on exposing Lily by using his own methods, obviously. So when they get back to on air, obviously, he then tries to make it out that Lily and June are just pretty much fakes.
Yeah, a bit of mass hypnotism, yeah.
So he takes
Jack's offsider,
and he starts hypnotizing both his offsider and Jack and the rest of the
audience, and probably some people at home as well.
Yeah. So he takes out his watch, turns into a sort of a hypnotic whatever device.
Yeah, little spiral thing. Yeah.
Spiral thing, and soon enough it starts working. Like you see, worms coming out of his wounds and stuff, and starts freaking out.
Yeah, and he reaches time,
you actually see it all coming out.
And then he ends the hypnosis thingy, and there's nothing there. And then and he doesn't remember anything. But they play it back, and he's reacting, but there's no worms, there's no nothing. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and this is...
That's his ammunition, isn't it?
Yeah, and he goes on to explain that Lily was hypnotized, but then again, there's hypnotized and there's hypnotized.
No, but then it goes on to the next bit. Mm-hmm. They run back the film and have a look at it, and there's no worms, and everyone's reacting to it. Yeah. And that's what actually happened. But then they ran the film of Lily, and everything that happened.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and we also see a bit of glitchiness, like the stuff you see in those found footage with dealing with supernatural or alien stuff,
literal interference and stuff,
and he's starting to realize that this is just unbelievable. And this is where Jack thinks this is his way of getting back on top again, because he wants them to become a regular on his show, his Night Owl, obviously. Of course, June objects to this because this is just way going beyond her control, so she thinks this is not right. Suddenly something really weird happens with...
Jack is arguing with that magician guy.
Yes.
And while it's happening, Lily gets possessed. Really.
Yes.
Really possessed.
Yeah. And
out of control. A bit like Carrie, you know?
Yeah, she starts attacking everyone, including his outsider, Carmichael, and June. And of course, everyone
dies.
The audience, it's a live audience, so you guys know it's one of those ones you see in Oprah or in that other show.
A live studio audience. Yeah. I think the people know what a live studio audience is.
Yeah, just like Oprah, if you will. Anyway.
Oprah, whatever, yeah.
Anyway, they start scattering, crew members start running, and of course Jack, he heads out his, the back, obviously. Then the camera cuts out, and then we sort of, we are entering inside it's hard to explain this next part because...
I think Jack is being taken, mentally at least, into a nightmarish version of his TV show.
Yes.
In the spiritual realm, controlled by the spirit realm.
Yeah, we get a few clips from his past experience, but slightly a little bit more creepier and supernaturally weird. And most of those scenes, like his dead wife, who also appeared in one of his show's episodes, where she was going on about how she met her husband, and it comes really creepy.
Yeah, it does. It goes a little bit dodgy. He said when they first did it, it was nice and sweet.
Yes,
and this
tender.
one here was a bit more darker and sinister. Yeah. Okay, something's going wrong here.
And then we get to the tree scene that he took part in, like the one you mentioned, obviously.
Yeah.
And and we also get the studio audience, the audience that we just watching him, are now sort of taking part in
probably
this.
Satanists. We don't really know
flashback
because they're in the shadows there as well.
Yeah. We do see them, silhouetted in some of these scenes. Obviously, we don't see their faces. We just see a hint of their costume because this is Halloween.
Yeah,
obviously.
and these his dead assistants there talking to him as well. So he's no longer dead. So he's starting to get something's not quite right here.
So he drinks the liquid, and he actually has a vision or dreams about his wife possibly in a hospital bed,
dying of cancer,
and she's like saying she wants him to end her life.
Yeah. I'm going to turn this back a little bit now.
Okay.
Just for a second.
Go ahead.
What's happened? We know when he apparently sold his soul to the devil or the demons or whatever to be successful. Mm-hmm. The problem is he did that, but when you ask for these things, it's a bit like the monkey's paw. Mm-hmm. You might get what you want, but you might have something else coming along with it. And part of the trade-off that he didn't know about is the demons gave his wife cancer. Mm-hmm. And they actually he got his success, and she got dead. Mm-hmm. Okay. Really
anyway, he uses a satanic knife.
Yes, ritual knife.
Jude bought with her along some other little goodies, and he stabs his wife in the chest, and then we kind of flash back to reality, and where we see Lily being stabbed by that very same knife.
Yeah, so he's actually killed Lily, the little girl, the 18-year-old girl.
We also see some other people there, including his agent, I think his agent.
Oh, everyone's dead on the floor.
Are down on the floor. And we hear in the background police sirens.
Police sirens.
And he's wondering whether he's still dreaming, or is it still, or is it still on a, or just that he's still hallucinating. I mean, I don't think he's even sure that he's back in reality.
Well, he's standing at the body of his dead guest, repeating the words, "Dreamer, here, awake."
Yes.
A phrase used by Carmichael to awaken everybody in the studio from their trance.
I think he's trying to say that to himself.
This is a joke. It's not real. And you hear the police sirens slowly getting louder.
Yeah, I think that he still thinks he's in that dream, and
possibly,
and fortunately, I like to think that because
hypnosis. Yeah.
Yes, I like to think that thanks to, I think all three of those things may have been connected. You know, including the fact that he's part in that group thing he did with his, selling his soul and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the film ends there, and then the credits start to roll. I'm sorry it's really quick, guys. It's just that this stuff is most of it's talk
quick,
stuff.
It's quick and straight to the point. This movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't go dilly-dallying and backstories and
no,
crap and things. And it gets straight into it, which is really good for a change, a bit refreshing.
It is refreshing.
Instead of saying, "What are you doing? I don't know. What are you going to do? What are you wearing tonight? I don't know. What are you wearing tonight?" Yeah, that sort of crap. There's none of that sort of stuff.
They did mention a couple of times during behind the scenes where they kept saying that they're getting boosts from, interest in audience members and stuff like that. And hopefully he thinks this will give him an extra boost to become like one of the top hosts in the country.
He wants me to beat Johnny Carson. Yeah. Anyway, now getting on to what I said before, these guys are brothers, the Cairns brothers.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, you did find out. No.
Yeah, I'm just going through his notes here, what I was reading while you're talking there. And, I did find that, they did get the idea from the Don Lane show, which was a show back in the 70s and 80s that we had here, a bit like the Johnny Carson show in America. But John Lane was an American guy too, which is interesting. Hey, and they got an American actor playing the guy here. So I'm just wondering whether it was a direct sort of poke at the Don Lane show. I really don't know.
I don't know. It seems interesting, like taking something that you think, like that particular type of show, and giving it a creepy twist on it.
Well, actually, their own comments on it were. Those shows back in those days were a little bit creepy to a certain degree because you would invite somebody on your show, but it wasn't actually scripted. You'd invite somebody on, you're going to interview your person, ask a few questions, have a few jokes, whatever, but you really, really never knew how it was going to end up. Because don't say anything, because I remember one time, and getting back to the Don Lane show, you got a wrestler. I can't remember which wrestler it was. Back in the old days, and he used to do the claw hold on a person's abdomen. And Don Lane, being the good host he is, so can you show the people how the claw hold is actually done? So he got Don Lane to lay down on the table, and the wrestler did the claw hold on Don Lane, which was supposed to be a mock job just to show how you put the hands on it to gently do it. He gave him this full claw hold on his abdomen and squeezed his intestines and abdomen and everything else there. And he fell off the table and they had to close the show down.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. It was not controlled. It was a little bit creepy because you never really knew what was going to happen next.
I see.
So they had to close the show down a bit early because Don Lane was taken off the hospital.
Yeah, I also seen in the old days, I'm not saying back 1977 old days, but something not too long ago where, maybe not too long ago, I mean, in the 90s, if that's close enough, there was also a few interviews where people who were murderers or spree killers who got one-on-one interviews by the news people like Dr. Phil or the Oprah. Yeah. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes that, not that I think that they they deserve. I don't think most of the time these people deserve to be on the news. But then again, they probably have an interest. They probably have an interesting story to tell sometimes, and it's not because I believe that they have issues, but I don't think it's also a very promising thing to actually have them on the news, because then it makes out that they're just victims while they may have hurt someone who's also a victim.
However,
who didn't mean to get hurt or get hurt.
However, it makes good sense to put interesting people on. Now, here's something in my notes here. When this was actually put the world premiere at the South by Southwest Film Festival in March 2023, and that was in Texas, down Austin. The same month, the horror author Stephen King was provided with an advanced copy of the film, so he can have a look at it. And he called it absolutely brilliant.
Wow. That is a promising approach.
From a good author, yeah.
From a good author who knows talent when he sees it.
And his movies have actually made it to film himself, so he was very happy with it, what these guys did. Now... Yeah, it's too early to know the real box office, but I would love to know what the budget was.
Me too.
Yeah, it'd be so good to know, but I don't think it would have been a lot, because if you had a television studio and they used a real television studio and they put some extras and stuff in there running around, a handful of actors, you might have been able to keep the budget down. So yeah. Now, critics.
This will be interesting.
Rotten Tomatoes, 187 reviews.
Are they positive?
Not 97% positive.
Oh, good.
Delightfully dark. Yeah.
Delightfully
Metacritic,
dark.
72 out of 100. Variety, they liked it.
Okay.
Brian Tallarico, whatever, of RogerEbberts.com, praised the film as inventive.
Very cool.
And the use of found footage was clever, etc. So everyone seems... Bloody Disgusting gave the film a score of 3.5 out of 5, which isn't too bad. Criticised the film's pacing as rapid, but writing that the ingenuity and the painstaking period recreation going back to the 70s, a riveting performance by the lead actor and a showstopper of the finale make for a great Halloween event. So he liked it. The Austin Chronicle, they praised it, the performance of the lead actor. Everyone seems to have liked this one.
Oh, yes.
So you know what that means if the critics like it?
Yes.
It's a crappy movie. No. I always get it wrong, don't they? No. It's a good movie. Maybe it's about time the critics got it right.
Yeah, well, it's different, and it's got the it's hitting the right buttons, in a good way. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's no big. I don't think there's anything wrong with the pace, because
I think it works good.
Yeah, because if it ran too fast, it would. Then you might.
If it was too slow, it'd be boring.
If it was too slow, it would be a bit of a problem.
So it kept it busy, but it wasn't jump scare, something happening all the way. The interaction between the people, between what was going on, was good too. So it kept it going. The continuity was really good.
Yeah, one thing that really caught my interest, Guy, was when Lily predicted to Jack that he's going to be well known after the show.
He would, especially when he goes to jail.
He'll probably be accused. Well, actually, I think they said something about this film that at the opening it was like a documentary style, where they're saying that this is an unedited episode which has not seen the light of day, which indicates that they may have kept it hidden in their vault, like so many TV movies that have locked away movies because they're either too gory or too over the top. Like like a lot of movies, like even that one that we've talked about ever so often, that was meant to be a TV series, but got canned on the first.
Yeah,
watch.
they do that sometimes. Yeah.
And they thought it was so scary, they were just removed it and put it in a vault, and have not released it till many, many years later. And now watching it nowadays, it comes off as a little cheesy.
Oh, you're talking about Haunting?
Yeah.
Haunted.
Yeah.
And that, like, the point of that one, it didn't. I don't know if it was too scary, but when they actually made the first one, the pilot, the television studio wasn't happy with the way it was heading. But to say made it into a movie.
Yeah.
That's all it was. So they made a few dollars on it and syndicated it and whatever.
Yeah. If they watched Halloween, then they could be scared.
No,
of
I don't think it was too scary. It wasn't heading where they wanted, so they didn't want to waste money on it. Now, a bit of trivia. And I'm not saying these guys copied anybody.
Okay.
The Cairns brothers. There was a movie in 1992 called Ghost Watch, which is a British mockumentary horror TV film with a similar theme.
Okay.
They used Michael Parkinson. He was an interviewing type guy, had his own show and different things. They used that, and so interesting. So maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I haven't seen the other film to compare it yet. But
What date was it?
That was 1992.
1992.
30 years earlier. Okay.
I'm just saying that if I don't even recall it or any
You
other.
haven't seen it yet.
I just mean like this one comes off as a little bit more interesting and eventful, but such a production like that one doesn't seem to either gain a lot of favour.
You haven't even seen it.
Well, it's just that no one seems to talk about it on social media. If it's such a well-wivingting TV
I didn't say anything.
special.
I just said it was made. A movie was made back in 1992 called Ghost Watch.
Yeah, and if it's remembered, why is not many people talk about it?
It's available, possibly.
It's probably
I've
available.
got a copy of it.
Anyway.
So I'm just saying if these guys may have seen it, got stimulated and wrote a similar script based on that sort of a theme. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they've copied it, but I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, it may not even be similar.
A similar theme. Yeah, a variety show or something rather there with people and something goes drastically wrong with the supernatural element on the show.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right?
But this one comes off a little bit more better because in this one it had two different sides of filmmaking. One is the your TV special, filmmaking, and the other one is behind the scenes video footage. Even though back those days I don't think we had behind the scenes so much. We had photos that were probably posted everywhere, obviously.
Yep.
And I don't think at the time they had any, aside from Super 8s and other cameras like that, I don't think they had any sound cameras back in the day in 1977 at the time, would you think?
The average person at home may not have had sound cameras, or they're just coming in. I think, but the more expensive ones might have had sound.
And
don't know.
the behind the scenes ones may not have had sound, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but in studio they would.
Yeah, if they're really, really big cameras for interviewing, they probably would have them on there. But if it
the
comes,
domestic market may not have it, otherwise it gets too expensive. It was a very expensive industry.
Yeah, cameras were very expensive back in the day. Also the fact they had those special sound recording devices that you need to that no doubt they would have had it on the set, obviously, but such small cameras for behind the scenes would not necessarily have a sound thingy-wing on them as of yet, till years later, until a much more brighter person worked it out of how can you make a sound thingy-wing to put onto a camera to make it a little easy on the recording thing.
Yep.
I don't know who may have come up with it. It may have came out probably during the 80s, who knows. I'm hoping that they don't make a VHS 1977 movie, documentary movie, mockumentary movie where they try to bring that into it, even though it's impossible because there's no such cameras. Because we've already seen in the Fabelmans that they even had movies that didn't have any sound.
Yeah, you remember in the olden days, you used to have these ones, I think they're spring-loaded. You used to have to wind, like a clock mechanism, you have to wind the side of it, had a spring, and you run it for a while, and you had to keep the tension up like a clock, otherwise it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no motors in them. Not electric motors, no.
Yeah, anyway that's... Well, let me see. Let's rate this now.
Well, I'm going, believe it or not, it's not because it's Australian.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies that are good.
Other damn fine movie. I cannot find anything majorly wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting movie, and I think it's well made. Okay?
I think it's well made,
So I'm going to give it about a 9.
I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 myself. I mean, it's not because I think it's a bad movie. It's just that I think they did plenty of good work on it. I like the fact that this movie dotted many. It kind of made lots of, dotted every dot and managed to press every right button in the process, and managed to give you a realistic, look at 1977 type filming back in the day.
But anyway.
And the fact that it looked like that period, because it was not just the sets. It was the clothing and the hairstyles,
and the style of the shows, and they captured the 1970s period quite nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the fact that in that one that they were trying to get the devil to talk, or whatever the demon was.
Well, Abraxas or whatever, whoever it was, yeah.
Anyway, in the end, the guy got tricked by the devil and ended up killing
the girl, who was supposed to have been killed in that house at the beginning with these. At the beginning, there was it started off. There was a group of sadists in the house, and when the police came, they set fire to the house and themselves, but the girl did not get incinerated.
Oh, they're part of all their plan.
Now, I don't know the idea of killing the girl off, whether Abraxas wanted to kill her off. Or that was just part of the deal.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's a little bit loose, but why would he kill his vehicle off?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that he found a new vehicle through Jack, in my opinion, where
possibly
Jack
could have changed over. Yeah.
Was he was in this dream thingy wing upstairs, going through all those his own personal hell. I think the demon was taking control of him, and while all that's going on in his head, the rest of the stuff, he went on a killing spree, killed probably the crew members, his agent, and when he was meeting his wife in the center of where he killed her, that's when he probably ended up picking off Lily in the scene.
Yeah,
she was probably she was probably no longer in control of the demon at the time.
No, I think the demon had surpassed that. Maybe. Yeah.
Somehow he let him in to Jack, because Jack was already.
He's already sold his soul to the devil,
life,
possibly.
and somehow he was unaware that this demon has taken control of him.
Who hit the fan? Okay, there you go then, right?
Yeah. I like to think that's how it works, because I like to think that he was living a dream inside his head, while at the same time he's like in a sleepwalking state, unknown by himself, that he's being controlled, while all the time thinking that this whole dream sequence was all in his head.
Yeah, anyway,
it's just a thought. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, where do you get it? Like I said earlier, it's so new. Mm-hmm. I think eBay has got some.
Period.
Amazon hasn't got it yet. I'll presume it'll be happening very, very soon. Okay.
Right.
Now, we're saying this.
Here we go.
Last year, I wasn't going to say this. There is a movie with a similar title.
Right.
It's called The Night of the Devils.
Night of the Devils.
And that was 2023 movie.
Right.
It's not the same movie. Okay. It's Late Night with the Devil.
Right.
Okay. Written and directed by Colin and Cameron Cairns. Cairnes.
Cairns.
Yeah. It looks like Cames on this, but when I looked at it, it's Cairns, and starring David, that's Malcian, whatever. That's a mouthful, that one.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah. So if you see that, you got the right one. But you might get the. If you sit back for a couple, by the time you hear this, it may be hitting Amazon, because we're doing this a few weeks ahead. because we're doing this today. It's about the 23rd of April today. We're doing it, but it's coming out sometime in May. This isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
roughly.
Mm.
I mean,
so another month,
another couple of
3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You might have it. Yeah. Cool.
yes.
But no, it's a good watch, and it's not overly scary, but it's supernatural and creepy enough to make it really interesting. How's that?
Quite right.
Yeah.
So you know where to find it when it comes out eventually. So you know our thoughts on it. So hopefully when it comes out, you can actually watch it and let us know
Actually, you might be
when
able
it comes
to
out.
go on YouTube, get the trailer, and have a look at it.
You can actually
Or-
look at the trailer,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
and maybe look at a few clip bits before actually purchasing it.
Yeah. But you go on streaming service, I'm sure.
I'm sure that it's on Shudder because it mentioned something about Shudder when we were watching it. I think.
Yeah, no, so wait a minute. The film became available for streaming on Shudder on the 19th of April, which
Yes.
is last week.
So you can actually
Yeah.
go and if you have
Well,
a Shudder stream site thingy,
yeah.
I'm sure they can go there and actually then watch it, obviously,
Yep.
and get set your own thoughts on the production, obviously.
There you go, then cool.
Yes.
Okay, that's about it.
So that's about it from us, guys. So
No, top movie. It's a really good watch, and it's interesting. And if you've ever been in a television studio, watched the live show being broadcast and whatever, I have years ago, and it took me back a little bit. So that's what it's like there. Poo happens. You got no control. No. Elephant walks through there. Whoa, didn't see that coming. Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Cool.
So that's it from us, guys. So I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll see you guys for our next podcast whenever we decided on what to review next. So this is Sarah Stephenson
Yeah, and Michael.
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now and have a good week.
Bye, guys.